Hi guys, this is just a really quick update just to let you know what we've been up to out on the course recently. To begin with, we've been topping up paths in places, but we've decided just to hold off on that now. The common side of the course has had one application of path material. We've also topped up low paths with some road planings, but because of the bad weather we've had recently, we've decided just to hold off until we get some dry conditions there, that they are beginning to be covered in mud again just because it's so boggy out there. So it makes sense just to hold off on that for now. So March is a very busy period for us as greenkeepers. There's plenty of seed, sand and fertiliser going out on the course at the moment, just preparing it for the season ahead. We recently finished off our tee renovations, which involved holocoring the tees, clearing those holocores, dropping a very generous dose of seed onto the tees. We went for an A5 mix, which is ryegrass, very hard wearing seed. Followed up with a dressing with a little bit of divot mix and a little bit of tea dressing as well. So once that was all on, we then worked in with the drag mat just flicked over it, and then we had plenty of rain, which will help water that seed into the ground. As soon as that seed touches the dirt, we've got a great chance of germination, and we're looking forward to seeing that pop up in the coming weeks. Last week we had some terrible weather conditions that led to course closures, but we took the opportunity to get on top of some crucial health and safety bits, and some of the boys also cleared out the leaves in the buggy park and also gave the practice net area some much needed TLC. And Kieron, our new man on the job, has revolutionised the mechanic department with countless repairs being carried out, as well as improvements to the club's machinery fleet as well. And then it was time to set up for the Herts County Schools competition. With the weather being what it was, we did as much as physically possible to set up for the event. Despite the heavy winds, the boys put on a solid setup for the day's play as well, so that's good stuff on that one.
Right, last week Ollie and the team were really busy. So it was spring renovations, a lot of courses at the moment. You'll see a lot of sand, a lot of holes, millions of holes going into greens across the country really. It's become very popular second, third week of March. The challenge when it's like this is the weather. You know, it's far from ideal, but the guys adapt, they get on with it and they still do some great work. We had to change our plans last week. We were going to micro holocore, which is physically pulling some material out the surface, but the weather, we spoke to Ollie on Sunday, the weather was far from perfect, so we decided to drop that. So instead we went with the deep aeration, which is a 20mm tine, so 3/4 inch. Ollie put 40 tons of sand into the greens, and then ran his Procore, which is a fantastic bit of kit with a 12mm tine, 1/2 inch, driving all that sand deep into the profile. So if you see here, this is the third green. All the greens have had you know, tons and tons of sand put into them. And I think they finished probably Wednesday, Thursday, and what's this now? Five days afterwards. They're already you've got the turf iron in the distance there. That's right on the fifth hole, rolling the surfaces back. We had a huge amount of rain over the weekend, so that's actually good because that's got the sand into the profile a bit. Yeah, but looking this Monday morning first thing, yeah, I think it's pretty good, and well done for the guys who working around the weather. Following on from greens renovation, we're in the recovery period now. We've managed to get one cut and roll out on the greens this week. Obviously with the weather conditions, it's been very difficult to get on them without causing too much damage and also bringing all that sand back up to the surface. So they have had one cut and roll. It's just a case of getting on those greens when we can at the moment. I know there's a competition on Saturday, but just know that we're doing our absolute best to get these greens performing to a reasonable standard, following on from that greens renovations as well. Finally, just talking about future work, smash the tees renovations out, smash the greens renovations out. Now it's all about fairways and getting them back up to scratch. Hopefully you've just caught Greg's latest video on the why and what we've done so far. Let's just touch on what we're going to do now going forward. We need to strike when the iron's hot, we need to strike when conditions allow. Next week looks quite good, so I think we will push forward with it next week if conditions allow. That's first thing on Monday, we will be doing this work. So 17 and 8 are the worst fairways on the course. We're going to holocore those entire fairways, run an old scarifier over them, break those cores up into the holes we've just made, and we're going to drop some seed on, and the final touch will be applying a compost type material like a green waste / turf humus. We will then do any other weak areas on other fairways that are getting there in terms of recovery. They just need a little bit extra help to boost them along. After we've carried this work out, it will not look pretty, I can assure you. You might step back and think, wow, what have the greenkeepers done?
But this is a plan that's put together with a master greenkeeper, and I completely agree with every method that's going in that can only serve as a benefit to these fairways and getting them back on track. So we're going to carry this work out. There will have to be some fairway closures just for general play. I know there's some matches on next week which we will have to step out of the way for. But if you're playing general play, the fairways that we are working on will be closed just for our own health and safety. Still be able to access the fairways, so if you hit your ball onto the fairway once the work's complete, step onto the fairway, take your shot and then step back off, as Greg said in his previous videos. I know this is going to be a little bit more disruption than we're used to here at the Common, but we need to do something to get these fairways back. And of course, we always appreciate your patience when we do work like this. It's very much appreciated, and I hope you can all get on board and give us some support as we try and get these fairways back to scratch.